Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Venus RX. It's Lacey. This is why I talk about topics that are on my mind right now. And what I was thinking about is the Mocro Mafia that I learned about. That came up twice this week when talking to people in the Netherlands, and they were asking me what made me leave New York. I'm like, oh, New York got too much violence, too much gangs, too much street harassment of women and whatnot. And it's funny because I had posted on my main page, Rose of Venus Tarot, about 4 months ago when I got here, that the Arabs here got this like thug mystique about them. And I had also mentioned that I was right about Muslims or Arabs selling cocaine, moving them things. And a lot of people tried to drag me, call me all types of crazy and prejudice and don't know what I'm talking about and whatnot. I feel fully vindicated because I had mentioned to my date like earlier this week. I was like, I had because I'm trying to think of two stories because it keeps re coming up here. Where basically, let's first with my date, I was like, yeah, the Arabs here. I was saying they got like some sort of thug mystique. I said that, and then he said that's not just mystique. They are thugs. That's like the mafia. That's the mafia here. And then I was talking to my wax lady about like violence in New York, and then she's like, yeah, I know America's very violent. She said we don't have it like what we call it gangs here. We only got one what mafia, the Mocro Mafia. So I ended up looking it up after we got into race. And this is why I love bringing up race, bringing up culture and stuff. Like I'll always love that because a lot of people had got on me, like I said, when I mentioned these Arabs. I'm like, they look like thugs. I'm like, they look like mama told me not to sell work. 17.5, same color t-shirt, same color t-shirt. So a lot of them are like, if you would call it attractive, like, 'cause physically, I know a lot of y'all, like, they're like, oh, these guys are sexy, like, they got like a thug mystique. But like my date said, that's not just mystique, that is the Mocro Mafia. And then I looked into them, and yes, they do sell cocaine. And not to say, and then when I first got here, like I said, there was like Arabs approaching me, hey, what's up, you smoke? You're like, you, what do you need? You like, like offering me drugs. I don't mind people offering me drugs. Later on, there were white guys offered me drugs too. Like somebody knocked on my door, offered me some weed. You want to smoke? You you want to drink? That's interesting too. I should get into the amount of times people offered me drugs here in the Netherlands, but I have yet to take them. I've only taken drugs from New Yorkers, and then I'm still recovering. Um, I try to stay away. I'm like, I'm not like gonna party too hard until I have like all of my visa and stuff covered. But either way, like watch some of this video with me and like let me show you what the Macro Mafia is because it's very interesting. I had did a video called Allah is the Devil a while back in which I was explaining that around in the 80s, it wasn't like necessarily the police that brought the cocaine to the hood. I'm like, looking at how black people were like thinking, because the macro mafia came along in the 80s, right? And thinking about how black Americans were in the 70s, I don't think we were heading down that path here, like, of being gangsta. I think we got that from someone else. Like, of course, the white man played its effect. I hold black men accountable because you're a grown ass man. But, I'm going to always talk about how cultures intermix and how they have some sort of influence. Africans because I'm like, they don't just, I was going to say they look more black than the black people. I'm like, they don't look more black. They look more gangsta. They look more, I'm like, that looks like their original swag. Like when I seen the Moroccans and the gangster Arabs, which is different to me because they don't necessarily act gangsta in New York. Like they have, like, it's hard to explain it. Let's watch some of this clip before I finish that thought.
The group that controls the Netherlands, the Mocro Mafia, Arab gangs from Morocco, control the smuggling of illegal substances, money laundering, and instigate gang wars that spread fear. In Rotterdam, gangs fight over cocaine, and their influence reaches into politics and the media. Plans for assassinations of the Dutch Prime Minister and the King's daughter show how far their reach extends. Want to learn the real story behind the Mocro Mafia? To find out more about them and the groups that hold European countries in their grip, check out the latest episode on my YouTube channel.
Libra. Okay, so yeah, that's the Mocro Mafia. We're gonna watch a little more of it, but I was gonna get into it. Like, I'm like, look at where Black Americans were heading down the Soul Train line in the 70s with our afros. My life, my life, my life, my life in the sunshine, kicking it, and then out of nowhere, what up, gangsta? What up? I'm like, yo, I'm like, they infiltrated into American hip hop. And it's like around the 80s and stuff. Somebody's like, that didn't happen in the 80s. It happened in the 70s. Maybe, yeah, they slowly started to come in the 70s. I'm not going to argue about dates and shit and whatnot, but you can see there was a turn and a change in like, especially the misogyny here. I do believe misogyny existed and it exists in Africa and, all of that across the board, but it's something about that. I'm like, these look like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but it was interesting to find out that the Mocro Mafia also has a show here called the Mocro Mafia in the Netherlands. There's a lot I didn't know about it, but I intuitively knew. I didn't know, even though I did know, just based off of being approached. I low key want to infiltrate the mafia. Let's see. No, but let's see, some more about the Mocro Mafia. Play some.
Today's episode is about one of the most notorious phenomena in the world of European organized crime, the Mocro Mafia. Many of you might associate this term with a TV series that gained immense popularity in the Netherlands and Belgium. But the story of this group is much more complex. This organization is a true brutal criminal syndicate that primarily operates in Europe and is known for drug trafficking, violence, and influence that extends far beyond borders. The origins of the Mocro Mafia. Today, we will explore the origins of their activities, the process of gaining influence, the symbolism behind the name, and the reasons why they are considered one of the most dangerous criminal groups in Europe. To understand the Mocro Mafia, we need to go back to its roots, which trace back to the 1980s and 1990s, when many families from Morocco migrated to the Netherlands and Belgium. This migration was linked to recruitment programs for manual laborers, who were brought in to fill labor shortages in Western Europe. During this time, neighborhoods with a high percentage of migrants began to form, often facing social issues such as lack of integration, unemployment, and marginalization. In these conditions, youth groups started to emerge, which over time transformed into gangs engaged in petty crimes like theft and marijuana trafficking. However, the true development of the Mocro Mafia as an organized criminal syndicate took place between 2000 and 2010. During this period, drug trafficking, particularly cocaine, became their main source of income. The rise of global trade routes and the
Okay, so yeah, they do like to move that thing, them things. They be moving that heavy work here, and it's explaining how they do it. This goes deep. I'm gonna link this video in the description box so you can watch more if you want to learn more about it, because this is very interesting that they have the Moroccan mafia here. I did not know much about them. I don't know how far it goes. I'm not sure if any Arabs in New York are associated with the Mocro mafia, but I can tell you that, yeah, a lot of them have similar. I was gonna say, yeah, they similar in their activities, and and whatnot. Though you wouldn't have known until like they legalized marijuana, and even though they legalized marijuana in New York, a lot of those smoke shops, they have something to put in marijuana that will burn your throat. Apparently, if people steal the marijuana or whatnot, and it's crazy because I was saying, they'll use that as a way to like try to avenge you. I've gotten some bad marijuana. I stopped smoking from any of the smoke shops, even though it's legal, because I don't know what they're putting in that marijuana. They have access to a lot of drugs and different things, even like the whippets. I was saying they have released the whippets. They're the ones who are giving people, the teens, the whippets, and like like watching them faint, people get mad. No, you don't know what you're talking about, you racist, just say anything, you've been blah blah blah. I'm like, how you don't see like what's right in front of you? I'm glad people like, like oh my goodness. And then the wax lady was careful, my date was careful. This is why I talk very candidly and openly with people about race. I'm like, and I'll start with my race joke because I'm like, I want to know, motherfucker, like, yo, am I don't care, like, I don't care, like let's see.
Increasing popularity of cocaine in Europe created the perfect conditions for the expansion of this organization. The ports in Rotterdam and Antwerp became key transit points for large quantities of drugs from South America, allowing the Mocro Mafia to amass fortune and influence. The name Mocro Mafia refers to the Moroccan roots of many of its
Cocaine
members and
is
can be
very popular
translated
in
as the
Europe,
Moroccan Mafia.
apparently.
Although
Yeah,
not all members
I've
come
had
from the
people
Moroccan
offer me
community,
cocaine
it is their
twice.
shared background and family networks that play a significant role in the structure and identity of the group. This cultural element also facilitated the building of trust and loyalty within the organization, which is crucial in the criminal world. Advanced operations of the Mocro Mafia.
And that's another thing. They're not all Moroccan that are part of the Moroccan mafia. I think some of them come from like Pakistan, different Arab communities. I don't know. Like I got a Middle Eastern, I was calling them. I was calling them the Akis. I was calling them Muslim and lumping them all in. But I guess they're all different. I have to learn in more to separate all of that, because all of that, like, because I'm still confused of where Morocco is and if that's even a part of Africa. It might be a country in Africa. I have to look into that because I know Egypt is a country in Africa. Um, I'm not sure even where Pakistan is, where Afghanistan is. I'm not sure where Iran is, Iraq, all of the Middle Eastern people. I gotta look into more about where the Muslim, all of the religions kind of started in the same place and then they branched out. Like I did it with the Allah is the devil, and then I have the devil, and then the star of Venus, and that star being the same. I have a good idea of where the religion came from. Most religions, we use the same Bible, we just interpret it differently, and there's different stories that have been left out and passed around. But I'm like, geographically, I'm like, I gotta better understand the Middle East, and even if Morocco is a part of it, but I know them.
One of the main
Let's
sources of
listen.
income for this criminal group is drug trafficking, specifically cocaine. They operate on a massive scale and have filled the European drug market by taking control of the smuggling routes in Antwerp and Rotterdam, two of the most important ports in Europe. These ports are crucial for the trafficking of drugs from South America. Through cooperation with Colombian and Mexican cartels, the Mocro Mafia has access to cheap and large cocaine shipments, allowing them to compete with other criminal groups both in terms of price and quantity. To carry out their operations effectively, the Mocro Mafia has mastered several crucial logistical and technological strategies. A key element of their success is their advanced network of contacts among port workers. Thanks to this, they can safely smuggle cocaine by hiding it in containers meant for legal goods. These methods include the rip-on, rip-off technique, which involves switching cargo and containers without the owner's knowledge and using tracking systems that allow for quick location of shipments. Port workers are often blackmailed by mafia members who threaten to expose compromising information, harm their families, or use other forms of retaliation. This pressure forces many people to cooperate, even if they had no previous ties to crime. It also happens that the Mocro Mafia pays large sums for one-time cooperation, which leads some workers to take the risk for quick profits. Additionally, the group includes many corrupt officials from
Dang.
customs,
Oh my goodness.
security, and
Bad
police
time to be
services.
a port
With their
worker.
support, the
They
organization is
threaten
able to
you.
avoid
I'm like, I
inspections
wonder how
at
they
borders
do
and
that
ports,
too. I'm
which
like, I'm
minimizes the risk
glad,
of
yo,
losing
I'm
shipments.
glad I got
For
the
example,
name
in
of
Rotterdam, it
it,
was
you know?
discovered that some
I'm
customs
like,
officers were
ask and you
responsible for
shall
tipping off the
receive.
mafia about planned inspections and helping smuggle illegal shipments through the customs procedures. Thanks to such advanced logistics and an extensive network of connections, this brutal group has expanded its operations on a large scale across Europe. In recent years, they have managed to enter markets in Belgium, Germany, Spain, as well as Eastern Europe. Their cocaine also reaches the United Kingdom and Scandinavia, where they compete with local gangs and other international criminal organizations. The organization has also developed a model of cooperation with local criminal groups.
Of
Rather than
course,
direct
the police
confrontation,
will
they
be
often offer
involved.
lower
They done
prices and
took
stable
the
deliveries, which
Mocro
allows
Mafia
them to
done
build
took over
alliances and
Europe.
expand their
I gotta
reach.
watch the
In
Mocro
countries like
Mafia
Spain, they
show.
make use of Mediterranean ports, which serve as transshipment points for cocaine coming into Western and Northern Europe. The Mocro Mafia also invests in modern technologies that support their operations. In addition to encrypted communication apps like Sky ECC and EncroChat, they use drones to monitor ports and shipments, as well as GPS systems to track containers. The use of these technologies allows them to quickly respond to potential threats, such as customs inspections, and optimize the logistics of their deliveries. Currently, this criminal group controls a significant portion of the European cocaine market, generating billions in profits annually. Despite the efforts of law enforcement, their organizational structure and ability to rapidly adapt make them one of the most powerful criminal groups in Europe. Their influence extends beyond drug trafficking. It also includes money laundering, arms trafficking, and other forms of organized crime. One of the key aspects of their operations is technological expertise, especially in the field of communication. Due to police investigations and the need to operate underground, the group used encrypted communication apps such as Sky ECC and EncroChat. This allowed them to conduct conversations and plan operations in a manner virtually impossible to decode by authorities. Thanks to this, the Mafia was able to coordinate international actions, confident that their messages
Damn, they making billions. I'm getting A-Rap money. Yeah, if I said if they get my YouTube ban, I'm gonna start moving weight with the Moroccans.
would not be intercepted. However, in 2020, a groundbreaking event occurred. International authorities managed to break the security of EncroChat and Sky ECC. As a result, the police intercepted thousands of messages revealing brutal details of their operations, assassination plans.
Well, that's it, you guys. That's all I wanted to talk about. If you want to continue watching about the Mocro Mafia, the link will be in the description box, and you could watch this full video and get to know them. Thank you so much for chatting with me about the topics that are on my mind right now. My racing thoughts always need a place to go. That's it. Have a good night.